Hello, my friend. I want to thank you for spending a little time with me today. I am Cami, creator of the blog and YouTube channel Tidbits and Company, where I love to share inspiration for the keeper of the home. I found myself with a week full of creative endeavors, if you will, and it got me thinking about our role as a homemaker and how much creativity is actually involved in our everyday lives. So allow me to chat briefly on this subject as I take you along on this beautiful Sunday morning as I water the yard and garden just before we head to church. We have a lot of thirsty plants in this heat, specifically all our little lavender plants that are waiting patiently for us to get into the ground in our lavender farm. Now, I have a memory that just won't leave me. It's of a time in my younger years of motherhood. I had been asked to help with a craft or project for an activity for the ladies in our church congregation. Being full of energy and creative ambition and quite honestly, possibly being a little naive, I brought my sewing machine to the activity, ready to help these ladies create a cute holiday throw pillow. One sweet lady, probably sensing my deflation as not many were joining me for this activity, she pulled up a chair and asked me to help her make the pillow. Now, I'll never forget her comment when she apologetically said to me, "I am not a creative person, but I'll give it a try." Not a creative person. What do you think of that statement? Do you relate? Do you think some people are more inherently creative than others? What does creativity actually look like? Now, I'll admit, at that time in my life, creativity in my mind looked like sewing, crafting, decorating, and I was oozing with it. It's all I wanted to do, and it became an important outlet in discovering what brought me joy and what I was good at. I was creative, and clearly this lady was not, but we both gave it our best efforts to connect with each other and had a good time. Not long after this experience, I heard a talk given by Dieter F. Uchtdorf, a member of the presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, it happened to be an event specifically directed to women. It completely changed how I looked at and defined creativity. I will leave a link to the whole talk in the description if you want to go read it. It's phenomenal, but a couple of the phrases he spoke touched me deeply, and I had to look it up again and read this to you. He says, "The desire to create is one of the deepest yearnings of the human soul. No matter our talents, education, backgrounds, or abilities, we each have an inherent wish to create something that did not exist before. Everyone can create. You don't need money, position, or influence in order to create something of substance or beauty. Creation brings deep satisfaction and fulfillment. We develop ourselves and others when we take unorganized matter into our hands and mold it into something of beauty." He continues, "You might say I'm not the creative type. When I sing, I'm always half a tone above or below the note. I cannot draw a line without a ruler, and the only practical use for my homemade bread is as a paperweight or as a doorstop. If that is how you feel, think again and remember that you are spirit daughters of the most creative being in the universe. Isn't it remarkable to think that your very spirits are fashioned by an endlessly creative and eternally compassionate God? Think about it. Your spirit body is a masterpiece, created with a beauty, function, and capacity beyond imagination. You may think you don't have talents, but that is a false assumption, for we all have talents and gifts, every one of us. The bounds of creativity extend far beyond the limits of a canvas or a sheet of paper and do not require a brush, a pen, or the keys of a piano. Creation means bringing into existence something that did not exist before. Colorful gardens, harmonious homes, family memories, flowing laughter. If you still feel incapable of creating, start small. Try to see how many smiles you can create. Write a letter of appreciation. Learn a new skill, identify a space, and beautify it. The more you trust and rely upon the Spirit, the greater your capacity to create. That is your opportunity in this life and your destiny in the life to come. Sisters, trust and rely on the Spirit as you take the normal opportunities of your daily life and create something of beauty and helpfulness. You improve not only the world around you, but also the world within you. Now, those thoughts from President Uchtdorf inspired me years ago and continue to inspire me today. I hope you found a nugget of inspiration to take as well. But isn't it true that as homemakers, we have the opportunity to create continually? Even just the amount of times we create nourishing meals and a clean kitchen should be notable. Creating a home where you and all those who enter in can feel welcome, loved, nourished, and at peace is no small feat. It requires daily creative effort, thoughtfully executed, and lovingly applied. I really personally take a lot of peace in knowing that our great Creator has planted in each of us a seed of His creativity and has equipped us with all we need to create homes where His work can continue in our lives and in the lives of our families and friends and all who enter our realms of creativity. So, my friend, whether you sew holiday pillows or not, always know that you are indeed creative. And it is a gift to be a homemaker and to use your creativity every day. Now let me continue this video and share with you more of what I have been creating in my home. It has been my focus as of late to try to create some more order and beauty in our kitchen spaces. This is the pantry. We're shifting things around, trying to figure out how to organize the spaces with the new furniture pieces that I've found either on Facebook Marketplace or antique stores. But I just really need to create some more beauty and function as our home has kind of been in construction mode since January of this year. Let me show you what I'm trying to figure out here in the dining room. Hubby got the old wood that we found buried in my grandpa's junkyard many years ago. He got it milled down. It's a redwood. It's gorgeous. And it was really, really thick. In fact, let me put a picture here of the table that we made out of it a long time ago. It was gorgeous. This was many houses ago, by the way. But it was super thick and the grooves were really deep, so it was always catching crumbs and it was kind of a nightmare. So I thought, let's just mill it down at least half the thickness and make a new table out of it. So that's what I'm trying to outline here to decide how big this table should be. And then I'll show you the hutches that we moved around that I'm trying to fill and work on. So definitely have my work cut out for me this week. But I thought I'd show you what I'm working on. As you can see, that hutch that I found on Facebook Marketplace is right there now. And I want it to hold dishes and things. So I need to get through all the storage in the garage and figure out what dishes I have that can go on there. But these were the chairs we had, and I'm putting them out, trying to envision how big of a table we should do here. I would love it to fit 8 people. So I thought we'd do 3 in the back, 2 on the ends, and then a bench on the other side made out of the same wood that is the table. So that's my thinking, and I think it'll be big enough, but not too big where it takes up too much space. But what do you think of that hutch right there? I am currently debating whether to just leave it this stain that it has. It's a little bit on the red side, but definitely looks I guess like an antique. I don't think it is, but it looks like one. The other option we could do is sand it down. So this is a part that has been worn down and the wood's kind of pretty underneath there. So I can look at that and envision what it might look like for the whole thing. Or do I paint it a pale yellow and get some more of that cottage charm? So what's your vote? Leave it, sand it, or paint it. All my kids have different opinions, but whatever the decision is, it'll probably be a while. It's just one of those things I'm gonna have to live with probably and see if I wanna make changes. Definitely want to see how it looks with the new dining table and how those wood tones will play off of each other with the floor. So not making any decisions until then, but those are the thoughts in my head. And we just moved this hutch in here as well. It fits the space a lot better. I can now see the entirety of the windows, and I have a lot of organizing to do, so don't judge. I'm trying to figure out where everything will go. Hubby's working on the piece that's gonna go right there. But this is the other hutch I wanted to show you. I did share in a previous video what it looked like in the garage, surrounded by a lot of stuff. But this is how it's looking in here. And again, I'm debating, do I keep this kind of brownish red or maybe paint it a pale yellow? Clearly I want some yellow in the kitchen. I just don't know if it should be with the furniture. So really cool piece. So what do you think? Leave it or paint it a different color? And honestly, here again, I probably won't make any decision about what to do with it until every other item is in place. The curtains are made for the 2 end pieces, and it's all brought together. I think that'll give me a better idea of what color will look best. This red is kind of cute. It's more of a toned down red, very cottage country feel, so just need to get everything else in place and see if I'm happy with it. Something that was on my plans for this week was to get this under sink skirt made. Many of you chimed in on my last video what kind of fabric. I have a floral fabric and this gingham fabric, and I was toying with either one, and I loved your comments. They just helped me see what was right before my eyes, and that was clearly to do both. I have the fabric anyway, why not? So I am making a sink skirt, I guess is what we can call this, of the floral and the gingham. And it's very practical because yes, this is under a sink and it's going to get dirty, but super easy to take off and wash. And it'll be nice to have like an extra one to put right back on while that's getting washed and laundered. But also fun to have one for different seasons, maybe floral for spring and summer, gingham for fall and winter. Although I have to admit, I put the gingham one on and I think that's the one I'm wanting to look at right now. But so fun that I can just swap this out and change it. They were really easy to make. And in fact, if you have a table or cupboards or something that you want to make a skirt for, I did a tutorial a long time ago for our last Butler's Pantry where I show you how I make these skirts that you can put under cabinets and whatnot. So I'll link that below for you if you want like a picture tutorial or to see the video for that. The floral fabric was just fabric, so I had to hem around all the edges and make the casing for the rod. However, the gingham fabric was a linen tablecloth that I bought. I loved the size of the squares and that it was 100% linen. I absolutely love linen and use it whenever I can. So this one was already hemmed around the sides and the bottom, so I just had to tear the tablecloth in half basically and make that little casing for the top. A little pointer here for you. The tablecloth out of the gingham fabric ended up being 2.5 times the width I needed, and I actually prefer the fullness of this one. So if you're making one, rather than just doubling the width, I recommend 2.5 timesing it. The floral one was just double, so it's not quite as full. So I do like a little bit more fullness there. So if you want to make something like that, remember that little tip. Last thing I want to share with you on this video is my 100% whole grain sourdough spelt bread. The recipe is all typed out on my blog at tidbitsandcompany.com if you learned that way. But I love to use 100% whole grains, and spelt is quickly becoming one of my favorite grains. It has a really nice gluten structure. It has a very mild flavor, so it takes on the flavoring of whatever you decide to put on your bread. But it's really nice to work with specifically for sourdough bread where you're doing a lot of stretching and folding. You'll see here later in this video, it stretches really nice. The gluten structure on spelt is, I don't know what the right word here is. It's a little more delicate, so it can tear easier, but it does stretch really well. So I love playing with it, and it works great for a whole grain. I have recipes for whole grain einkorn bread and just whole grain hard white or hard red. And I like to play with each And I find if you're wanting to learn more about each of the whole grains and how they function, one of the best things to do is like make an artisan loaf of bread with 100% of that grain. It really helps you identify the differences between the grains so that you know better maybe on the recipes that you find which grain will work better. You just get your hands in there. Sourdough is so basic. It's flour, water, and your starter and salt. And so you really get to know this grain and how it works and where it shines and maybe where it does not. Spelt is actually one of the ancient grains in line with kamut or einkorn. So highly nutritious. Great grain to learn to use. I sub it a lot 1-for-1 for white flour just because I find it's a little lighter and fluffier than the hard white or hard red grains. But my favorite way to cook with grains is to freshly mill them right before I bake them. Now, I don't know if you're catching the buzz going on in the world right now, but there is a lot of information surfacing about the benefits of freshly milled whole grain bread, and that freshly milled is key. I've actually been doing it for 10 years. I used to have, well, I actually still have the little countertop Nutri-Mill, the bamboo ones that just do little bits at a time. But these days I bake so much. I upgraded to the bigger Nutrifill that grinds a lot at a time, and I'm using that. You don't have to babysit it as much. It's a lot easier to just throw it in there and go about your cooking. So when you freshly mill and then bake right after, you're getting like the most bang for your buck, most nutrition possible out of bread. And these magic little grain kernels, they are so full of amazing nutritional benefits. And the problem with store-bought grains is that, well, there's quite a few problems, but as soon as you mill it, it starts to lose nutrients fast. I can't recall the statistics right here right away, but when you just buy flour from the store, even if it's whole grain, they have to take the oils out to make it more shelf life friendly. Those oils have a lot of vitamin E and great things in them that are no longer in the shelf store-bought flour. But when you can freshly mill it, you're getting all of it. There's no nutritional loss, no oxidation. Grains are just like fruits and vegetables. The minute you pick them or set them aside, they begin to oxidize quickly. And so it's great to freshly mill and bake right away. And I have to say, the taste is phenomenal. You just can't beat it anywhere with store-bought bread when you make this from home. And I will leave a link below of all the bread supplies I have bought, the mills, the cookware, even where I buy the grains. I've compiled all that for you in my Moonsift board, where I can kind of compile all these in an easy to look at place for you. So I'll link that below if you want to check out the things that I have. But I'm 100% converted to freshly milled whole grain breads. It's helped our health a lot. There are just so many nutritional benefits from freshly milled whole grain bread, and I'm excited that the world is finally understanding this more. For me personally, I have so much more energy when I'm eating bread daily, cooking it daily, and feeding it to my family, and I've witnessed a lot of health benefits from it. So definitely check out this recipe for spelt bread on my blog. I'll leave that below, and I hope this has encouraged you to create, my friends, whatever it is in the kitchen, in the craft room, with your family. I hope you take the opportunity to fill your days with creativity and the joy that comes from it. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back very soon to share more inspiration for the keeper of the home.